Welcome back to TV Campfire Podcast, episode 627. This week, we will be finishing up Daredevil, episodes 8 and 9, Adolescence, episodes 3 and 4, The Wheel of Time, episodes 7 and 8, and continuing with The Residents, episodes 3 and 4. And if you want to jump to any one of those shows, you can check out the time codes in the description below. And with that, let's get on with the show. TV Campfire Podcast. We talk TV. Welcome to the show. All right, welcome. And this week we have returning guests.
Hi, this is Allison, and I write reviews for 6 Degrees of Geek.
Hi, this is Tom. I chair Visual and Media Arts at Palm Beach University in Florida and host the Screen Time podcast on iTunes and Spotify.
Hello, it's Malik El-Amin. I'm Managing Director of Griot Theater.
All right, and let's go on with the news. Carrie has been made into a TV show, or will be made into a TV show by Mike Flanagan, and it's been picked up at Amazon. And he's done some really good horror shows like The House of Usher, and I've been impressed by that. So if people are like, why they should not remake this, I feel like let's give this dude a shot because he's done a really good job so far.
That's how I felt when they said that they were remaking Dune again, and then they said it's Denis Villeneuve. Shut up and take my money. So I'll watch Flanagan. He's good at what he does, especially the horror thing.
Yeah, he's really good at it. So I'm like, all right, I'll take a ride with that. Colin from Accounts, season 3 has been renewed at Paramount Plus. I don't think I was watching that. Were you guys watching that? No? Okay.
I watched a lot of the first season. It was fun.
Okay. I have heard nothing. I've heard nothing about this show.
It stars the dude who played Andy on Evil.
For all of those who are watching Mayfair Witches, which I think all of us quit watching that show.
Did it get better in season 2? Because I heard it didn't.
It did not. I gave it a shot. I was going to say the news is that it's been renewed for season 3.
Oh, dear God. I hate watched season 2. It was just as bad as season 1.
I tried to hate watch season 2, and I actually couldn't do it.
My time's too valuable, man.
Mythic Quest, which I did like, has been canceled after season 4. And for those of you who are like, well, I watched the finale and they left us on this crazy cliffhanger, I can't believe it. They are actually updating the finale file. So if you go back now and watch the season 4 finale, the end will be different. So it will now serve as a series finale because it did totally live on a cliffhanger when I was like, oh my God, I can't wait for the next season. And so apparently, so now I've got to watch the finale again if I get over all my tears.
And it's got a good cast.
Yeah, and it's got a good cast, and I really enjoyed everybody. It's fun. It's a really fun show. Anyway, so let's get on with the shows. And first up, we're going to talk about Daredevil Born Again, episodes 8 and 9. Episode 8 of Daredevil is basically Bullseye is asking to see Matt, but the real thing is that Matt himself has kind of come to a crisis where he's just like he was over it. He's over the whole trying to be forgiving and trying to be just a lawyer. He's like, the law has failed him and has failed society. And now he's kind of like going back to his vengeance and vigilante roots. And he's got all this anger that's just right bubbling at the surface. It's coming out with his clients. It's coming out when Poindexter or Bullseye requests to see him. He starts putting stuff together. He's day drinking. He's just like a mess.
The thing that kept annoying me with this episode is the way they're handling his girlfriend. I mean, yes. I've said before that she's really no substitute whatsoever for Karen. Part of his character is how he interrelates with the people he cares about. And we've given him this girlfriend they've just made her aggressively pig-headed and kind of dim. I mean, she's refusing to see what's right in front of her. Yeah. And she's dating a guy who's telling her these people are dangerous.
Especially as a therapist. I feel like she should be more analytical about this.
One would think. And
I still can't believe she didn't figure out that Matt's Daredevil. I think I mean, come on.
Well, not only that, she also says Daredevil didn't rescue me. I'm like, excuse me, because you were doing so well on your own before he jumped through your window.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just because she managed to fire off the gun, he did a little something in between those two events. Yeah,
she was getting busy. She was busy getting stabbed.
She was going to die if Daredevil had not jumped through her window.
Absolutely.
So she finished him off, but she was absolutely dead if Daredevil didn't intervene. I'm like, put some respect on his name.
Well, I think it was also, I feel like she obviously has some kind of vigilante trauma herself, because she keeps trying to belittle all the vigilantes and say they're little boys, and she's got this like real generalization. I feel like the only way to justify her behavior is to be like, oh, and her father was a vigilante or something that's giving her these kind of blind spots, because she's definitely got blinders on.
Yeah.
Although I gotta say, I thought it was when Matt puts two and two together and realizes that it was Vanessa, not Wilson, who ordered the hit on Foggy. That was good. That was good. And Vanessa, it's interesting how people are like, "Oh, she's not a victim. She's a queenpin. she a baller."
She is 100% into
they are
this
a
game.
match together. Absolutely,
100%.
A demonic duo.
But then let's get to the
put
ball.
4 shots into Homeboy to eliminate conflict from her relationship.
She was serious.
That's commitment.
I want to get to the ball itself, because she, like, the girlfriend who none of us remember her name.
Dr. Glenn.
Oh, there
Heather
you go.
Glenn.
She invites Matt to this big ball, the white and black party, and
black and white. That's a thing, by the way.
I know, but what I thought was hilarious is Vanessa shows up in a red gown, just like okay,
hostess.
Yeah.
It's based on Truman Capote did the big black and white ball years ago in the 60s. And I think that he specified one particular actress to show up in a pure red gown, so she would stand out. And everyone was like, "Oh, look at her!" But he had actually told her to do it. So
so it was based on history. I like that. But I want to get to the actual ball itself and how unhinged Matt starts to behave at this ball, and then you have Poindexter or Bullseye. Like, the tension in that scene is so good, because Bullseye has escaped, and he's like, you've got the tension of where is he going, who's he gonna attack, what's going on. So that whole scene I thought was fantastic, just showcase of editing and tension and acting, and I was just really impressed. But what I also thought is, I liked that it was interesting that Fisk 100% knows that Daredevil can hear him. So he was like, they were dancing and he was having commentary to him during the dance, and it was just great threats and snark fest, and that was all really good. I don't understand, like, other than saying he's a hero and a hero would always move to protect people, he really shot himself in the foot by getting shot.
In the shoulder, actually.
Yes, thank you. But then that leads us to the next episode, which is the finale, which has Heather, the girlfriend, by Matt's side, and just was like, I can't be in the same room with you if you're going to say that Fisk is a bad guy. That was my nail in the coffin for her, is that Matt is heavily drugged. They've already said that. He's injured. He's saying something you don't like. So you're just going to leave the hospital? Like, what kind of girlfriend are you?
A bad one.
Well, he also asked for Karen when he was leaning over, and that was kind of precious. That really was.
That was good. That was good. And Fisk's great line when he thinks about Matt saving his life, he's like, I'd rather have a dead hero than a live vigilante. So go kill him for his efforts. Like, come on.
This season was written and shot before the current political situation, the amazing prescience of the writers. Because
that's true. I was getting vibes.
To clamp down, declare martial law because of extreme vigilantism and have his own personal brute squad, basically. And then with, basically having a meeting with his advisory team and finding out who he can trust and who he can't trust. And
then having him eliminated or fired.
And that commissioner, I'm
Yeah.
surprised he made it to episode 9.
The biggest thing is that I was super surprised when Punisher came back to protect to protect Daredevil. I thought that was a really good team up. And I love the moral dilemma of that big fight that they're having with all the cops, where Daredevil is very much like, okay, we're going to maim and knock people out. That's all we're doing. And Punisher's like, nah, I'm just killing people.
He's killing, but in his defense, he's only killing bad cops. The ones who are,
Yeah,
redeemable, he just maims them.
But they were like, no, but he didn't check that dude in the room where he was like, oh, you're gonna jump in front of a bullet. What about this guy? He just like shot that dude. He was like,
Punisher don't play, man.
Oh my god! Like that was crazy. That was a crazy
scene. Speaking of Karen, how about Karen and Frank's flirtation? It's like y'all get a room.
Well, it was super awkward because we know that Matt has a thing for Karen and Karen has a thing for Matt, and then Karen has a thing for Frank, and it was like a weird triangle happening in that room where I was like, "Ooh, am I the only one uncomfortable?" Malik, you haven't really talked that much. Do you have any thoughts about this episode?
Yeah, I thought it was a rather disappointing season finale. Well, I thought it was, and so we've highlighted some of the interesting points, and I think that's all there is. I think the rest of it was pretty badly done. I found it difficult to be engaged. I'm glad Tom did say what he said, because I was like, if we don't talk about the Trump comparisons of Kingpin in this season, I don't know what we're doing here.
Right.
He causes crises in order to seize power to theoretically solve the problem he generated. Right. He leverages his office for personal financial gain. He purges those not seen as loyal, and he promotes incompetent people because they're loyal.
I agree with Malik that it was weak as a season ender. In fact, I didn't even know that it was a season ender. I especially because it was episode 9. I figured, well, they usually do these things even numbers, so we can expect an episode 10. And most of this episode really is setup. It's just putting, the little pieces in a line and waiting for them to, get knocked down. The bad guys are in ascendance. The good guys are, on the ropes. And that's what you do with a penultimate episode, because most of it was just devoted to setup with no resolution.
True, but I did feel like a call to arms. Like the very end, the way that it felt to me, like I kind of was like, oh, is this a finale? Was the last couple of minutes montage where they show all the forces that are building against him and basically telling Daredevil, you can't do this alone. This is not going to be a throwing fists kind of situation. You need the packing of the people and building like an underground force. Mm-hmm. So to me, I was like, oh, I see. I would have been surprised if it wasn't the finale based on those last few minutes.
Yeah,
resist,
I just saw
rebel,
it as
rebuild.
And they even had that tag scene where Frank, manages to get the stupidest card in the history of the universe. It's like, sure, shake your hand. Right. Okay, good.
Well, I mean,
and get out of the cell.
Yeah.
So, but, and I figured, oh, good. So he'll be, in action when we have our last episode, which didn't happen.
But I want to move on. I did like the finale. I get why you guys didn't. I totally understand. Next up, we're going to talk about Adolescence. Episode 3 of Adolescence was, to me, actually kind of the highlight.
Yep.
Which surprised me because I really liked the cops in the first 2 episodes. So I was like, wait a minute, we're not going to get the cops? We're not going to get the parents? It's just this random psychiatrist that we've never met and the kid in a room. I was like, this is going to be boring. And I take that all back because that kid did such a good job in this scene, flipping between this kind of, at the beginning, he's charming to the psychiatrist. He's really nice. And he's trying to you could tell he's trying to win her over. And then when that doesn't work, he gets a little weepy. And when that doesn't work, you see the monster.
He goes full on sociopath.
You see the kid that stabbed this girl. He was genuinely frightening. And I like that the psychiatrist, and I was like, well, she could probably take him, right? I kept thinking that, every time, because he kind of tried to intimidate her. And
he didn't just try.
You
He did
mean bully
intimidate her.
Yeah. No, he was it was, I don't know if it was bullying, but he wanted her to be afraid of him. Because the whole time you're thinking, well, maybe he could be reformed, maybe he could be redeemed, maybe he could be whatever. But the more you watch this episode, the more you realize that this kid needs to just be locked up. There's something wrong, like genuinely wrong with him. And he thinks he's smart, but he's still a 13-year-old boy. So he really couldn't outsmart her. So he decided to try to scare her. And it was just chilling.
You're wondering in episode 3, what happened to this kid? How did he get there?
Yeah.
And for me, that's why I'm more interested in episode 4 dramatically, because it deals with the repercussions.
I think 3 was the best episode in the series. And I'm a strong fan of episode 2 when they were in the school. I love that a lot. 3, not just because of the acting, which is superb, but also what it reveals to us. So we saw him kill the woman on video, so we know he did it.
Girl.
Somehow there's still a little bit of mystery around it and the why and what kind of person does this. So in episode 3, he clearly has a temper. And I'm like, is he just an angry person or does he hate women? Mm-hmm. And the episode reveals, he hates women.
Yeah.
And it's a very specific thing which matches with the crime that he's committed. So I really like how the episode reveals his character to us. The fact you mentioned that the psychiatrist, she is scared at some point where, physically she's bigger than him. She weighs more than him. But also, women are not socialized to be combatants. So even if, according to the stats, I should be able to take this guy, she's a lover, not a fighter. So, so I just thought the way that we have this 13-year-old intimidating this grown professional woman was just kept everything off balance in a really, really compelling way. And then I just have to say his final lines in that episode. He literally says, out. Do you like me? Forget the murder. Forget the fact that I did all of this other stuff. Do you like me? And her pause when he asked that question was just rich.
The thing I really admire about episode 4, and dramatically episode 3 is stronger, no doubt. The performances are more compelling. It's the dad's birthday, and they have all these plans, and they're really trying to have a normal day. And of course, somebody puts a slur, spray paints a slur.
You had to Google it to understand what it was.
a slur for a child.
What is a
sex criminal?
It's basically a pedophile. It's like if somebody had put pedophile, but it doesn't make sense. Who are they saying is a pedophile? They're saying Jamie's the pedophile. They're saying the dad's the pedophile. Like,
I mean,
it was just such a weird thing, and they misspelled it. So
Not necessarily, because a lot of times, and we're seeing this in the US as well, when a child commits a horrific act, the parents are blamed. The parents, they don't want to talk about the elephant in the room, but they can't avoid talking about the elephant in the room. And when they go to the hardware store and the kid recognizes the father and says, "Oh, we're all rooting for you, and we hope it's like, oh my gosh, you really start to have sympathy for the parents and the fact that everybody else only knows what they've seen in the media.
They fail at having a normal day entirely, and then Jamie calls to disrupt their day more and make it more awkward and more painful, and everybody's crying. And I really love the end where the two parents are talking about, is it their fault? Are they to blame for what happened? Was there something that they did as parents? Yes. And you see Malika saying yes. But I don't know.
That's an oversimplification, because the daughter, who's the daughter's kind of in the background and she's in college, but she tells they're considering moving away, and the daughter says, no, that would work for a while, and then people would figure out who we are, and then things would get worse.
Right.
And she just has, she's a young woman, but she had really smart advice for them.
Yeah.
And then the father says to the mom, "How did we make her?" And the mom replies, "The same way we made him."
I thought that there were parts of this episode that were excellent and other parts that were misfires for me. So the opening and them discovering the vandalism, I thought that was beautifully well done, particularly how the father reacted and responded to things. Their trip to the hardware store, I thought was another one of the things that we get because they can't cut.
Right.
So they have to fill that ride with something. And it was totally unengaging. Once they're in the store, the things that Tom mentioned, the father's freak out at the end where he roughs up the teenagers who did it and throws the paint on his van.
Right.
Excellent work. The phone call on the way home, even the fact I'm a big stickler on, if I'm on speakerphone, tell me I'm on speakerphone. Like, I'm really big on that. So that the fact that that became an issue where the son thought he was only talking to his father and then realizes his mom and sister are also listening. The fact that he is going to plead guilty, which is kind of where this needed to go.
Right.
It does suggest some growth. I did not like the rest of the episode when they got back to the house, largely because I felt it was overindulgent. There's a thing about emotions. If the actors do too much with their emotions, I can't feel anything. There wasn't any space for me to feel anything because they were feeling everything for so long.
I did cry. They got me to cry. So
I felt hardly anything because they were crying so much and so long. Again, no cuts. So they can't even gather themselves to figure out is emotion what's appropriate in this next moment.
I just have to add with you, I really don't. I think the story was strong enough. They didn't need the gimmick of the oneer. It's like the material is strong enough, the acting is strong enough, but by not cutting, you weakened what could have been a really huge gut punch because you have to show everything, and it just didn't quite work dramatically for me. So,
all right, let's move on. I think overall we're saying thumbs up.
And episode 3 is terrific.
Next up, we're going to talk about The Residents, episodes 3 and 4, because at the end of 2, they've honed in on the pastry chef. So episode 3, it's all about the pastry chef. And I think that his logic for why he was doing what he was doing made no sense. Like, that was such a red herring for red herring's sake that I was actually kind of annoyed. Like, when they said, "Oh, why are you wearing a dead man's shirt?" I was like, "Oh my God, did he kill him?" Like, I genuinely believe that he might have done it. But when they do the pastry chef with him walking down and trying to incinerate the knife and not checking the incinerator to make sure it worked, and just like, I was like, okay, this dude didn't kill anybody. What is his ridiculous story of what happened?
Now, I really enjoyed the episode. I mean, first of all, you've got all these episodes leading up to the finale, so whoever you focus in on early on is not going to be the killer.
True.
But
I just thought that was just too
how they set them up and how they explain it, and even in a regular mystery, that's fun to watch. But with this, because it's a comedy on top of everything else, it was fun and ridiculous, and I loved the way they handled it. I thought Bronson Pinchot was hilarious.
He is fun.
Pastry chef.
Yeah.
Yet another accent, I guess, that you can add. But yeah, it was just, the character was really funny, and I thought I thought from a kind of screwball comedy perspective, his rationale was just as good as anybody else's.
I'm not sold on this show overall. I don't like the construction of flashbacks, and then the whole thing is a flashback, and there are flashbacks within the. It's a little bit overly convoluted, and I think the episodes are too long, and everybody is so bonkers nuts except for the dead guy and Susan Kalichi Watson. It's like, who hired you people? Because you're crazy. And you're working in the White House? I don't think so. So I just, it feels kind of formulaic in trying to surprise you all the time. And we've got all these misdirects and whatnot. So I don't know. I'll keep watching. I'm halfway through now. So why not? I just wish that it was tighter and sharper.
I think this show is such a breath of fresh air to me. What practically all television is formulas people are following, and I think what's telling is how it's executed. I think the writing is rich and funny. The acting is pretty great. This episode kind of solidifies the fact that you are going to be evaluating a non-suspect, right? Because she doesn't have suspects, essentially every episode, and I'm okay with that construct. I thought this particular episode was a lot of fun too. If we're ready to move on to the next episode,
go for it.
Which is 4. It's probably my favorite episode of this series. And 2 reasons. One is, I know Tommy said you don't like flashbacks within flashbacks, but I loved the opening flashback with Cup and her nephew. And one, just culturally, to see that relationship based on not trauma, but just a relationship based on love and curiosity and sharing of knowledge and wisdom, just did a whole lot for me personally. I think it also helped the story. It helps us understand her lifelong approach to solving mysteries and how she applies it to the present mystery. This is the one that focuses on Sheila, who is Edwina Findlay, who to me is a revelation. There's so much that is authentic about her character, as wildly as she is written. I believe everything she does. Even when she's lying, I believe everything she does.
Constantly lying. Constantly lying. That was so fantastic.
Lies about her lies.
Yes. And then she goes, I'm telling you the truth. You know I'm telling you the truth right now.
And then gets caught in a lie like 2 seconds later. As much as I enjoy Uzo Adubo, that was a 10-minute flashback at the beginning of the episode.
I thought it was good, though. It was
good, but it was on theme, but it was not on story. It was on character, rather. It wasn't really on story.
I love this. I mean, I will confess, typically I marathon through everything, so I've seen the whole thing now, and I'm ready for season 2. Okay, I don't know how they're going to get a season 2 out of it. I would
more murders in the White House.
I don't know what. There's something
did the butler
about.
Do it?
No, do not.
There's so many to choose from.
I don't know what it is about these murder mysteries that they've become like my comfort food, but I loved watching this, and not only because it was funny and clever, but also because somehow it was just like comfort foodie. It was just really. I mean, I felt like I was in the hands of experts who the for performances, the writing, everything. They were going to resolve it in a way that was satisfying, and I loved the ride. I just absolutely loved the ride.
Now we're going to move on to the Wheel of Time, episodes 7 and 8. I will say I was vastly disappointed with Golden Eyes, episode 7.
With Perrin?
Yeah, because one, we have now separated from what everybody else is doing. We're concentrating on his story, and it's not really that interesting. Nothing really surprised me in the storyline at all. And most of it was about, oh my God, leading is hard. I suck. Maybe somebody else should lead. Oh, the pain, the guilt. Like, that was the whole episode. And they had a really big battle at the end, which was fun to watch, but it wasn't like an epic, oh my God, I'm going to remember this battle 10 years from now watching it on television. It wasn't anything like that.
In defense of Perrin, he's doing the best he can. It's not like he's had a lot of great role models around.
No, I'm not disagreeing, but it's just not fun to watch.
The White Cloaks weren't as good as they portended to be. And he was able to get the townspeople to kick it up a notch. So the evil dude that he spares,
the dark friend, that's
the dark
Fane,
Patton Fane.
You know, him sparing him and telling him to call off there's so many names in this thing. It's like
the Trollocs and the Darks.
For those of us who haven't read the books, it's like you should be able to pull up a scorecard. It's like, forget the actors, put the different races we're fighting right now. So, was it as compelling as the season finale? No. But I like Perrin. He's come a long way since season 1. Come on, give him that much.
I liked this episode better than finale. I had so much fun watching this. All of these moments that they gave us between characters that reveal, things about the story. Like when Loyal was asking to play Maiden's Kiss, I was like, "Ooh, how's that going to work?"
Yeah, that was fun.
That was really fun. There was a moment where Perrin was like, "No one can run as fast as a Tuatha and Un." And Bane and Chiad was like, "Have you seen us Isle runs?" They were like, it was fun. So do we remember in the movie Predator where Bill Duke is dry shaving as he gets ready to face the Predator, and he's like, "I'm gonna have me some fun. I'm gonna have me some fun."
Yes.
Bane and Chiad were like that while they were defending that Waygate on Loyal's back. It was just their energy, those two actresses, how much they work well together and how much they communicate without saying a word. I loved it.
I liked them a lot too. Yeah.
There were lines. Fail was like, "Failure is freedom because now we don't have anything to be afraid of." I was like, "Go ahead, I'm writing that down in my motivational diary." Perrin at one point in a battle is dual wielding with his hammer and his axe. I'm like, we got dual wielding going on in the show. And then that tension between Perrin and Fael about who gets to choose what and accepting one another. And Perrin is like, "Stay behind me." She's like, "Don't tell me what to do." He's like, "So you can kill the ones I miss." And she's like, "Oh, I like this guy."
That was
well, when you put it like that, okay.
Yeah, that was a good line.
She thought he was
So
trying to protect her.
Fael is shanking people like she's in prison during the battle, I had and the last one, I'll be quiet. So Loyal, when he's inside the Waygate and he's got to figure out how to stop them all from pouring through, I'm like, we are in a hold the door moment right now. I wanted him to say Hodor. So for me, this episode was so much fun. I had a blast.
I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was the greatest thing. I think what they were trying to do by devoting the entire episode to this is that I think this was going to be their Blackwater, where the whole episode is devoted, like in Game of Thrones, to this monstrous battle against, monsters and get all the tension out of that. And I don't think that the stakes were high enough for that. Mm-hmm. I like the little character moments because I do like the individual characters and how they interrelate. But overall, I didn't hate the episode by any. I think you disliked it, Libya, more than I did. I was entertained by it. I just wasn't overwhelmed by it.
Let's move on to the actual finale. And this is where, you playing for all the marbles, as they say. And we're focusing on Rand and the Aiel. But also we spend some time with everybody else's story and see how everybody else is wrapping up the season. And I have to say, by the time it finished, I felt very Empire Strikes Back-ish. I was like, wait, did we just lose? The most frustrated I got, only because of how it ended, was Cian Soon. Like, I felt like she should have been smarter. I was like, what are you doing? Like, you can see that this woman is maneuvering people, and you are maneuvering no one. Like, you're not telling anybody what your motivations are. You're keeping secrets, even from your second in command, who is warning you something is going on. And then when the Red Sisters leave, and she's like, send our most sacred... I was like, no, it's a trap. I'm like, if I can see it's a trap, how are you not seeing it's a trap? It's a situation of a smart character being
doing dumb stuff
and causing their own demise. And go ahead.
Wouldn't it have been better to show us the beef between Shuri Agdashlu and Sophie Okonedo, perhaps in the episode that introduced Shuri Agdashlu, instead of waiting until the episode right before the big on betrayal? Because it was like, once they showed that, you knew it was coming. You had 8 episodes. For me, it felt like, we're going to kill her to piss off Moraine.
Yes.
To empower her to beat, Lanfear. Oh, I got some names right.
So y'all killed Swan Sanche.
Yeah, like, dude.
Me, dumb enough to think that because I read the books and I know she's safe. I'm like, oh, y'all can insult her all you want. Okay, y'all can beat her up. Like they subjected her to enhanced interrogation techniques. I was like, fine. Y'all can threaten her all you want. And then I'm like, but she's dead?
Her head was on the other side of the room, man.
I was dumbstruck. I was hurt a bit, personally, my feelings, my emotions. I have to kind of, work through that a little bit. It was such a shock because I knew that she lived beyond that. And that's the point. I mentioned the showrunner. He was like, with an actress like Sophia Okonedo, if you don't have a lot more for her to do, you don't keep her in the cast.
She had a great Emmy reel finale too. So
her speech was good. Like she gave a really good speech at the end to even where the new Emily Seat was like, oh, did I do something? Did I do this wrong? Like she looked like she was doubting herself after that speech. I was waiting for Moraine to meet her end because that's what happens in the book.
I was going to say,
yeah,
that felt to me like she should have been the one to get ganked.
And she does. In the book, Moraine is the one who dies at this moment.
Really?
I'm just wondering, because Witchmajigger is an executive producer, it's like, you can't kill me off yet. Wait another season.
I think
Rosamund Pike.
I think that they're going to earn it. It felt like, especially her conversation with Rand, where she I thought she was going to admit what she did, but no, he figured it all out. And then she was like, oh no, is he going to kill me?
As he has acted in the past.
I know. And she was like, oh no, is he going to kill me? And so they have a really good heart to heart where that's when I suspected she wasn't going to die. When he was like, I need you to be with me so that if I do go off the rails, you will put that knife in my throat. Like
he said, thank you, may I have another?
Yes. That was I really
that was surprising.
That was surprising and in a really good way.
At the end of that episode, when Rand finally does show that he's a Karakan, he makes the desert rain, makes it rain in the desert.
Very Dune.
Yes.
Hey, Dune,
but also,
Dune flashback.
Also, all of the Aiel bow to him. And Egwene is like, I bow to no man. I will applaud you, maybe. But I'm not bowing to Rand al'Thor from Two Rivers.
Well, actually, expected endings were kind of all over the place with this episode because we also got the hanging, which happened in a totally different context than what we thought. And didn't turn out to be his doom.
Were those genie? Was that like a genie-like creature that hence the three wishes? Or
I think so. He was
I noticed he's wearing a necklace that has like a fox on it. So I'm thinking there must be some sort of fox spirit that either is specific to him or that he just ran into or something. But he is wearing a necklace that they focused in on, where I'm thinking that the power of that creature must be in that.
Well, and also it's
so
one
the
of those,
necklace will be cool to see what it does in the next season.
Yeah, because it's very much be careful what you wish for and how you word it.
Because
it's
the monkey's paw.
Yeah, he was very much like, I want to go home. And he was like, oh, you did not specify how you wanted to go home or
and
anything
what the
like
price
that.
Would be.
Yeah, he was like, you didn't specify nothing. And I think that also shows that the new Emerald Seed, I cannot remember her character.
Elena.
She obviously went to see him and get a wish as well. And hers was to become the Emerald Seed. And then it didn't happen. And she was like, what the heck? But now it's happened because one, she didn't specify when she was going to become the Emerald Seed. And also, I think she has now become the seat at basically the end of the world. So that means she is going to be in power when she has to go up against the Dragon Reborn, and it's not going to go her way. I think he is going to murder her.
But more so, who in the writing staff is fans of Cats the Musical, such that they had this Cats figure be the one that grants Matt his wishes? I'm like, what kind of... we've changed genres.
CGI from that thing.
Oh my God.
The thing
is it going to be on roller skates? I was waiting for the next part.
Starlight Express.
Yes.
The thing with Nynaeve and Evil Kelly Ripa.
Leandrin.
I can only store so many of these characters' names in my mind. I thought she was done for, and it's interesting that she's hearing her own voice talking to her younger self, and then she does the whole Moses part in the Red Sea thing. It's like, go
No,
girl.
wasn't that her daughter from when she went through the thing, the arches?
Yeah, that was her. That was her daughter.
From the Future Vision thing. So Leandrin
there you go.
Has underestimated her, one of her many nemeses.
The only thing is when she got it, when she found the I don't want to call it the necklace, but
the collar.
The collar. When she found the collar and she was like, "Oh, it's the collar," I was like, "No! The way they hid it was they hid it in plain sight. So they had like 10 other ones that looked the same. And so when she figured out what it was, I was like, "No, put like 10 of those in your bag. Don't just put the one." And so I was really kind of annoyed that then she didn't leave. The plan was, if you get it, you leave.
Yeah, she was hanging out.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
She kind of deserved to be wrapped by an anchor and thrown in the ocean.
Basically. So I was kind of annoyed. And then when she was all happy that she used her powers, I was like, well, go after Leandrin now, Miss Super Powerful. What are you doing? Why are you standing there smiling?
She got to wait for season 4. Is the imposter going to face consequences? Because that was just kind of...
The Aiel are now split. Almost half of them went with the imposter and half of them stayed with Rand.
It made no sense to go after the imposter because the whole point of the dragon is that he has these powers, not just cool tattoos on his arm.
Right.
And this guy clearly can't.
But in the books,
don't have power. And
in the books, it's a bigger conflict that remains. I don't know what they're going to do in the show. But in the books,
to just disappear. Honestly, by the
he went up the stairs and left. Is basically what they showed him.
Exit stage left even.
Yeah. The Aiel dressed all in black all follow the imposter, so they showed them split.
The Shido clan and I think some others. Right.
So he doesn't have the full weight of the Aiel. He only has about half the army. But the other imposter guys, they're gonna like go across the spine of the world anyway, and just like wage war. All right, well, let's wrap this up. I think overall, we've been very happy with season 3. I think they've done a really good job. They have surprised everybody. Whether you read the books or not, you are definitely like, what is going on? And they have moved Rand. I think they've changed his character in the best way, in that I felt like he was naive. He didn't know what was going on. But after he went and had those flashes of his life, after that episode, he felt like a much more mature and intelligent character. And it's like he gained all the wisdom of his ancestors. And now he's kind of a better person, except for the whole Egwene thing. I don't know what to do with that. Now that he's totally split with Lanfear and he is 100%, at least in theory, on the side of good until he goes mad. Yay! So we'll wrap that up. We're saying thumbs up. We can't wait till the next season. And we'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.